Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Good Hang. We are continuing our clip package episodes, and this is the second of 3. So we will be back with new episodes and guests in just 2 weeks. But this week, we are putting together an amazing episode of all of the people from Parks and Recreation who have come into the studio and sat and talked to us. And it is a great list. It is Mike Schur, Rashida Jones, Aziz Ansari, Kathryn Hahn, Paul Rudd, Aubrey Plaza, Adam Scott. And please know, there are more coming. In fact, a little teaser, we do have Nick Offerman joining us in season 2 of this podcast. If there are seasons in podcasts, we are insisting there are. And so you're going to hear from all of these people today. And the reason why we're doing these clip shows is because I am finishing up shooting a new show for Peacock called Dig with my buddy Mike Schur, who, as we all know, created Parks and Rec. So let's kick off this episode by hearing from Mike Schur first. This episode of Good Hang is presented by Subaru. Some cars go the extra mile. Long-range Subaru hybrids take that to a whole new level with up to 597 miles per tank in the Crosstrek Hybrid, a car that I've given my family, and up to 581 miles per tank in the Forester Hybrid, another car that I also enjoy. Subaru. Love goes the extra mile. Visit Subaru.com/hybrid to learn more. Range based on EPA estimated combined fuel economy and full tank of fuel. Actual mileage and range may vary. In the very, very beginning, the idea for the spinoff of The Office, or was it even an idea for spinoff, was what?
Well, so Ben Silverman,
Parks and Rec?
Ben Silverman was running NBC, and he asked Greg to do a spinoff. And so Greg's response, typically thoughtful and considered, was, I would love to do another show. If the best idea that I have for a show is a spinoff, then I will do a spinoff. If the best idea I have is something else, I'll do something else. Greg is one of the main things that he gave me in terms of how to do this job is best idea wins. Doesn't matter who it comes from, if it's staff writer or a 25-year veteran co-EP or a person who works in costumes or whatever, best idea wins. That's it. No, and there is no corollary to that. In every situation that you're in creatively, best idea wins. And so that's what he said basically to Ben. And he was like, it's very important to me that you understand that if the best idea I have is not a spinoff of The Office, then we're going to do something else. And Ben was like, totally hear you, buddy. And the next day in the Variety, it was like, Office spinoff is coming. Ben just totally ignored him and just announced an Office spinoff.
Sure.
So Greg and I started meeting. Greg asked me to do it with him. So we started meeting. We would go to Norm's diner in the Valley twice a week for breakfast. And we would just think of ideas. And we would talk about what interested us and what was going on. And we would inch down a little path and then hit a dead end and then inch back. And we just met constantly over showing your work. We met all the time forever. And eventually came up with the idea of and by the way, just to say it, some of the ideas we talked about were Office spinoffs. There were Craig Robinson and Rainn Wilson and all these people on the show who could clearly be in their own show. So we talked about family shows with them or whatever. Greg was, I think, wary of taking assets away from a show that was very successful, in part because of its large, rich cast. We stumbled upon this idea of Dunder Mifflin on The Office is a fake company and it's a way to satirize the private sector. What if we create a whole fake town and satirize the public sector? And as we're having that idea, the world economy goes kablooey and they're talking about massive government bailouts. And we start to realize that the government, obviously federal, really, but also state and local, was going to be very present in people's lives. People were going to be looking to the government for help. So we started getting excited about that. I had this idea for an abandoned lot that would be turned into a park over the course of the entire run of the show. Very Wire-y idea. I was obsessed with The Wire, as were you.
Yeah, we share that.
And I thought the way that The Wire portrayed like calcified systems and how slow gears grind and stuff was fascinating to me. And I thought it would be really funny where in the if you did a show that ideally lasts for a long time, and in the pilot it's like, we're going to do this, and then it literally doesn't get done until the very end of like 9 years later. So that was the idea that I really liked. Greg then was like, what if it's not a lot? What if there's like a giant hole in the ground? What if it's a pit? And I was like, that's so much better. And so that idea of all the 73 ideas we had started to like fizzy up. And it obviously is not a spinoff of The Office. And Greg, true to his word, was like, this is what we want to do. At some point we called you because we heard you were leaving, and you were like, I'm theoretically interested in this. Let me know. The show was given a guaranteed 13 episode order, which now is very commonplace. At the time was like insane. And The Office was going to be on after the Super Bowl that year, and this show was going to launch after The Office. Then you called us back and said, actually, sorry, prego. That's exactly what you said.
Yeah, I said prego.
You said prego.
Prego. I sent you a telegraph.
Just
I said, prego, stop. Show's off, stop.
And it was like, well, you're going to give birth like the week we have to shoot this, so no go. And then like I remember very clearly 2 weeks later, I went into Greg's office and I was like, there's no, like we were working on the show at that point pretty strenuously. And I was just like, I just don't think there's anyone but Poehler who can do this. And he was like, I had the same thought last night. And very quickly, we made a phone call to NBC and said, if we can get Amy for this, we will give up 7 of the 13 guaranteed episodes because we'd only be able to make 6.
Dang.
And give up the Super Bowl slot.
Boy, you guys were,
and
I'm so appreciative you did that.
I mean, the thing was, it was actually a very simple decision because we were like, getting Amy Poehler on your show is a long-term decision. Like that's a decision you make for like this, what you hope will be a very long chunk of time. Like the Super Bowl slot is a short-term decision. It's like, yeah, you'll get this like frisson of energy, but like it doesn't last. Like no one ever, like very rarely does that determine the fate of a TV show. And so we then called you back and said, what if you could start shooting 3 months after you give birth? And then we made the show.
And it proved to be the most satisfying creative experience I've ever had. And I like
more than this podcast.
No, this is my number one.
So it's number 2.
Yeah, this is. I mean, besides this. Now, one of the ways, like very concrete ways, that is, I feel like an example of what I'm talking about, which is like the joy in the details, is the way you like to name characters.
Yeah.
And I think you gave me, I think you allowed me to use this in my book, actually. But you gave me like a list of possible names instead of Leslie Knope, the character I played on Parks and Rec. Like you gave me like a bunch of different alternative names.
Yeah.
But you also love to name characters left and right. What is it? What is fun about names for you and naming?
Okay, so it's 2 things. The first is growing up, first major comedic influence, Monty Python. Monty Python, experts at silly, stupid names, like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. You can go look them up in their sketches. But the actual thing that's going on here is different. So I would go to actors' IMDb pages to see what they had been in when we were casting them in the early days of the show. And you would see like woman number 2 or like man in crowd or guy with sandwich. And it really bummed me out. That person, like, auditioned for this and booked this gig and drove all the way across town and like put on fake clothes and put on makeup and whatever and had to stand in a certain place, follow a million instructions, say a line or 2, and then they yelled cut, and then that person drove all the way home and they got paid like $600 for like a week's worth of work. And there should be something better than man number 2 or man in crowd. Yeah. And so I decided at that moment, this is early in season 1, I think, of Parks and Rec, that every character who appeared on the show was going to have a first and last name.
Amazing.
So when you saw, instead of, if it says man in crowd, you're like, oh, well, that it doesn't really count as an acting gig. But if you see Marv Vavavma, which is a name I gave a character once, you're like, who the hell is Marv Vavavma? What was Marv Vavavma up to? So it has been, it started with that intention and has become truly one of the great joys of my life is to give because here's the other thing, sorry, you can cut all this out. But the other thing is if you name a character Jack Smith, you can get away with it because there are 10 trillion Jack Smiths. But if you name a character anything even mildly interesting, like Winona Cooper, there's going to be like 4 Winona Coopers in the state that you're setting the show in. And then the legal comes back and says, you can't name your character that.
A lot of people don't know that. You have to get names cleared.
You have to be cleared. And there have to be either none or so many that not any one of them could think that you're saying anything about them. So I go for none.
None.
Yeah. I go for the weirdest names. We had a character recently on the show, on A Man on the Inside, named Ophelio Papipapepi. There's no Ophelia Papipapepis anywhere in the continental United States, so you get to use that name. That has been my goal, is to have none, have the Google search come up empty with every name of every character.
Okay, with that in mind, will you please read some of these names that you have invented?
Yeah.
Like just a few here on the bottom of this page.
Okay. Mona Lisa Saperstein.
Yes.
Jenny Slate's character.
Yes. Do you remember all these, do you think? Amazing.
Trod Frankensteip.
Okay, tell us about Trod.
So Trod Frankensteip was a local reporter, or he had almost like a little show like this in Pawnee where he would interview political people like Leslie Knope. Mm-hmm. A great way to come up with a name that doesn't exist is to take a normal name like Todd and then just stick another letter in there somewhere. Trod. And then Frankensteip is just Frankenstein with a P at the end. Tyrion Fonzarelli. Tyrion Fonzarelli, obviously a combination of 2 characters from TV history, Tyrion Lannister and Arthur Fonzarelli. This name goes to Matt Murray. Matt Murray did this.
Panther.
Panther. Tyrion Fonzarelli was
a writer on Parks and Rec, among other things.
Was a guy in a jewelry store who was buying an engagement ring for his to be betrothed when Anne and Chris Traeger were shopping for rings.
Great.
Leslie Knope. We know who that is. Gretzky Susan Pellegrino. Okay. So Gretzky Susan Pellegrino was like the 4th in a series of names that for some reason all involved the last name of the greatest hockey player who ever lived, Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah.
I don't offhand remember who Gretzky Susan Pellegrino is. Also, it should be noted, hyphens, huge part of my naming process.
Yeah, so exciting.
It's a way to get another name in there.
Another name, and also there's no way that someone's going to have this name.
No one's first name is Gretzky Susan. Gretzky hyphen Susan. Typhoon Montalban.
Oh, I love Typhoon.
Typhoon was Donna's hairdresser.
Yep.
Typhoon, also Matt Murray, I believe, gave Typhoon the first name Typhoon. We needed a last name. Where do you go for the last name? Ricardo Montalban. Typhoon Montalban. Sasandra Sasasnorp. Okay. Sasandra Sasasnorp was, I believe, I could have this wrong, was just it was like Sandra Snorp.
Okay.
And then the legal was like, didn't clear. We found a Sandra Snorp somewhere.
Snorp.
So guess what you do? You add 5 more S's. Now you're good. Sasandra Sasasnorp. Summer Ole Kraken Frog Frong. Okay. This is a Monty Python ripoff, straight up.
Okay.
Ole, O-L-E with an accent, and I guess just that part. There's a Monty Python sketch called, I think, Election Night Special, where they're just going through election results in local elections all over the country. And there's a silly party and a sensible party. So all the people in the sensible party have names like John Smith, and all the people in the silly party have very crazy names. And there's also a very silly party and a slightly silly party. If you want names, go watch that sketch. It'll sate you. Summer Ole Kraken Frog Frong. That's a good one. Frog Frong is a great last name.
One.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you think some of your best acting was in Parks and Rec when you had to pretend that you didn't know who Genuine was?
You know, it's still one of my biggest complaints. I remember we did the table read for that, and I was like, no one's gonna buy it because I don't buy it, okay? Pick anybody else on this cast to try to play that in an honest way. Mm-hmm. It is so unfair that you're making me do this. It really, it still hurts.
Because really hurts. How familiar are you with Genuine?
We were married. No. I mean, you know, I live in 90s R&B. That's where my heart is. It's not here. I mean, it is with you, but for the most part, it's not present. It's in 90s R&B. So he's a very important figure.
Yeah. I feel like we have had some hard-ass laughs. And I was trying to think the other day, like, places that we've laughed, just deep laughs. And it really does add years to my life. I know that. And I wonder if you could tell the story about when we were on Parks, and it was, because we talk about it, we've talked about it before. When we were on Parks, and it was the first season, it was the hunting episode. Mm-hmm. And just to kind of set up, we were shooting that whole week way far away, somewhere in California, I don't even remember where.
Either.
And we had to do a scene with Nick Offerman. And that, I think about it sometimes, the way that laugh came, it was like
Giggles.
It was giggle orgasm city. But don't worry, we'll cut that. But what do you remember about it? What do you want?
Well, I remember he maybe ate something weird, and we were trying to give him Ipecac. Isn't that
So
what it
Nick
was?
Offerman playing Ron Swanson ate something. Yeah, I don't remember actually what happened in the
I
show.
think
Isn't
I
that
was
funny?
like determined as a nurse that I was like, you have to throw up. You can't.
Right.
You're gonna get sick. And he's like, I'm fine.
Right.
And we were trying to get this like liquid in his mouth. And, it's Hollywood, so things that happen like on camera don't actually happen in real life. So it was written that we like hold him down and he's resisting us and we give him this thing. But like you don't know how small you are, because I think both of us, like, I'm always like, I'm like a tall person, right? Like I ask people
I
if
feel like
if
a
I
tall
feel
person,
tall.
but
Yeah.
I'm not.
And I'm not. And I'm
How tall are you?
5'3.5".
Yeah, I'm 5'2".
And Nick is solid.
Yeah.
He's a solid dude.
Yeah, he's like a Midwestern corn-fed dude.
Dense and like and muscular. And we were trying to hold him down, and he was whipping us around with such ease. Like both of us could not hold him down. And he was like, literally, he'd just go, beep, and we would just fly off the bed in each direction. We could not stop
One
laughing.
of us, we each had one arm.
Yeah.
And it felt like just the flick of a wrist.
Because
and
he
we
was
would
being
fly
gentle.
across
He
the
was
room.
being gentle.
Yeah, he wasn't
He was doing like
he wasn't
stage
fighting for
resist.
his life.
Yeah, no.
And we could not get him to stay down.
Could not.
And I remember that feeling. Also, I think there's something fun about wrestling. Like
There is.
there's
So good.
It's so good. And being thrown around is so fun.
Yes.
And he was throwing us around. And I feel like like if I was to picture it in my mind, you were just like, wee! Like I could just see you going past me and your hair going, wee! And then your legs going, wee! And me. And I just remember like, Rashida! Like I remember seeing you flying by, which can't be true. But
I feel like we were tumbling all over the floor. Like every time we got back on the bed, we were like, and we were kind of like we were both trying to be like on top of him, and then like just flipping over really quickly.
And I think too, because Nick is such a lovely, gentle guy in general, we knew there was something about us that knew we weren't going to get hurt.
Safe. It was safe. Yeah.
But he was making like grunting bear sounds.
Yeah.
It was really, really, really.
It was really fun.
That was I'm trying to think of like, there's so many good crack up moments. I'm 100 years old.
What a crack up.
But I'm just like, I was like.
There's that spot in Andy and April's house, remember, where we could never get a scene done? Just that living room.
There's a dead spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was haunted.
Yeah. And then I remember there was one time you were like, Rashida, because I could not get through it. But it felt like haunted. It did not feel like it was my fault.
Yeah, I'm sorry I said that. There was a
it was
couple
late.
times I
It
would
was
see
late.
bloopers for the show and I'd be like, Amy.
No, but those days were so long.
They were.
They were long. And it was fun until it wasn't. You're like, oh my God, it's 10 p.m. We just want to go home.
I know. And there was a scene for people that care. There was a spot in that on that set where anyone who stood there couldn't get their lines, and then of course it became self-fulfilling prophecy in many ways.
Yeah.
But there was just a lot of deep laughs and deep laughs off camera. Like one of the things I treasure, and there's so many things I treasure about my friendship with you, was that we would be talking like this, and we'd be just talking and just like talking about our day and talking about life, and then they would just go action, and then we would just talk like Leslie and Ann, and we'd do our scene and be like, we kind of, I'll speak for myself, kind of knew it, kind of didn't,
Right.
And
Same.
then then they'd work on it, and we would just go back to talking. Like, it was like a dream job.
We filmed in between our conversations.
Yeah.
And also, I think I remember very clearly in the pilot, because we had already been friends for years when we shot the pilot, and they were doing one of those spy shots, and we were in your office, and we were talking, and it was like, you know, other people were like, oh, this is great. Like, this is a thing that really works. Their friendship, we're really going to be able to sell it. And we're like, duh.
Duh, no kidding.
What do you mean?
I mean, they really did base the entire show at the end of the day on the fact that Leslie and Anne were, you know, each other's number one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not hard to do.
No. And we've talked about this before, but when we first started the show, I think it was kind of like we were trying to figure out who was going to play what part and who was going to come on board. And kind of like the beginnings of that show were, I'll say, a little clumsy.
Crunchy. Can we talk about it?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Oh my God. Yeah, it was crunchy.
Because I think I don't think a lot of people know this. For the beginning, I think we both were worried that we had taken each other's part.
Like, yes.
Yeah.
So I had been on hold for this untitled thing that Greg and Mike were gonna write.
Right.
And I had done a year on The Office, and they let me go, which made sense. It made sense.
You had such a tough job there because everybody wanted Jim and Pam, and then guess who shows up? A very likable, cool, and everyone was like, "Oh no, wait,
that's
I love
nice.
Karen."
It did not feel that way. People did not like me. Like, fans were not about it, but they had to create tension for the relationship to be earned later. So I was the third point in the triangle. It's fine. I accept it. But anyway, so Mike was like, "We're working on this other show. I'll put you on hold. We don't know what it is yet." Remember, people thought it was like a spinoff of The Office for a second. But anyway, so they kept changing the main characters of the show. When they pitched it to me, the boss was a guy, and they didn't know if they were going to cast me or not. But I remember you were extremely pregnant.
Yeah.
We'd just gotten back from Italy.
You and I were in Italy.
Yeah.
That's right.
We were in Italy, and it was very hot.
That's right.
And a day later, you were like, "Let's go to lunch." I need to talk to you about
Do you
something.
remember where we went?
Pastis. Yes, I do.
In New York City.
I do.
Oh, God. And I and let's talk about something?
Yeah.
Oh,
and you
dear,
said,
oh, dear.
No, you.
And I was like, I want you to raise this baby with me.
It's yours.
This baby is yours.
I know that's impossible.
And you need to accept it.
But I actually hold this moment as like a gold standard of friendship and being able to take care of your oneself and the person that you love at the same time. I really do, Polos, because it was what you did and how you did it was very hard, because you took me to lunch and said, "I'm so sorry, but they offered me the part." Both of us thinking it was the same part I was on hold for, being created by a friend of ours. And so I immediately started crying in Pastis. And you held my hand, and you were so warm, and you were there was something about it where you were like, "I know, I'm sorry, buddy." But you didn't do the thing that I sometimes do where I'm codependent, where I'm like, "I know, I suck. I'm the worst person. I don't even deserve it." Like, whatever I would say to try to make the other person feel better, which doesn't work. You didn't do that. You held your space, and you also comforted me at the same time, which was like a very beautiful thing.
I wonder what Schur's version of this is.
Let me tell you, because
Okay.
I left him a message almost immediately, because I'm not shy. I was like, "Oh, I'm such an idiot for thinking I could even be on the show. Like, anybody wants me on the show. Of course I didn't get this. Like, Amy's like a,
Oh my God, what a
goddess.
mean part of yourself to be.
Very mean,
Yeah.
very mean. That's a person we're trying to not invite to the dinner party anymore. But so I called him. I was like, "Hey, would love to talk to you." He was on a plane. And he landed, and he's like, I was like, you want to tell me what's going on? Because it would have been really nice for you to tell me and not Amy to tell me that I wasn't getting this job. And he's like, no, back up. We changed the boss. It's a woman, and Amy's playing the boss. And I was like, oh my God, like, we might be working together?
Yeah, it kind of went from "oh no" to "oh my God, we might be the two women on the show."
Yes. And I still wasn't cast, because I still had to do a bunch of chemistry reads after that. But that became, this huge possibility of my life being the best, from the worst to the best.
God, I'm sweating even thinking about that.
He wasn't. They just hadn't decided things,
Yeah.
and they were trying to build around you. I think is what happened around that character. So I think they had just done that, and I think you wanted to tell me as soon as possible,
Yeah.
because we were so close,
Yeah.
which was the right instinct. And Mike decided to get on a plane, which was his instinct.
And he just flew for hours.
He
just
wasn't
went to
even
different
going anywhere.
cities and
He
he
just
never
got on
got
a
off the
plane.
plane. And that's what execs do. That's what a powerful person does, is they get on the
They
plane.
just get on as many planes as possible. My phone was off.
This episode is brought to you by CarMax. You know when people are like, you do you. Yeah, well, that's what it's like buying a car with CarMax. You can shop however you want, which could be online, while you're on the sofa, in your pajamas, or in store, where you can test drive every car, ask every question, and lock down every detail. Plus, they've got options to keep your wallet happy. Visit CarMax.com to learn more and find a car within your budget today. Want to drive? CarMax.
Your little Zizi's all grown up.
I know. My Zizi is just he's an old man now.
I know. If you watch, whenever I see old Parks things, I was like, I didn't know that me and Aubrey did a show when we were little kids. Like, it's really.
I know. How old were you when you started on the show?
I was 13 in season 1. And then when we finished, I just turned 18. I got my driver's license like in the middle of the run.
A lot of people don't know that you were 18 when you were playing Tom Haverford on Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
It is true though. It is you look like a baby. You were a baby.
I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
In the first seasons, I didn't know how to act or anything. I should not have been on television. NBC should have been like, is there any Indian guy that's done more acting?
A lot of people don't know you were the first person hired for Parks.
Yeah, I met with them.
Yeah,
and,
what was that meeting like? Do you remember it?
Well, it was so mysterious what they were up to.
Yeah.
I had a meeting with them, and I told them, I don't know what you're doing, but whatever it is, that would be a dream job. And you know, this was like when The Office was on, and Mike and Greg were both involved in that, and that was, you know, my favorite show like that on the air. And so I told them, whatever you're up to, let me know. And then, of course, you know, when it all came together with you and Rashida and everything. And
well, I'm kind of learning. When I was talking to Plaza, when Plaza was here, she was talking about like her meeting with them too. And,
very famous stories. Yeah.
I know. And it's kind of funny. I kind of forgot the Avengers Assemble feeling of those guys going out and getting people and bringing them in and talking about like, we're going to do something very cool. I mean, it didn't even feel like there was a ton of auditioning. It was more just them picking people that they thought was funny.
Not only funny, and I feel like all of us, whenever we see each other, do interviews, kind of say this kind of stuff ad nauseum, but it's so true. But also just the best people I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
Like really, I cannot believe it, because we've all done other stuff, and, you know, not everybody's... You know, look, we've all done other stuff. I don't talk about everything the way I talk about Parks. You know, you do something, and some people, there's different energy, not necessarily mean or bad, but just something like we all just clicked, and there was a vibe that worked with all of us. And just to pay respect to you and Mike, you know, when I did Master of None with Alan, and as I've become a director, I you know, what I learned from you and Mike in terms of how to lead. I mean, I can't thank you enough. It was the best role model that I could have ever had.
Sees. Let me see if you can guess how many episodes of Parks you did. Would you know to guess?
I would say between 7 and 13.
10.
10. Okay, between 7 and 13. It's kind of right between. That's amazing. But it was such a huge impact on my life. Like, it's still the thing I get most recognized for.
Really?
Yes. And I just remember, well, first of all, you were the most incredible number one on a call sheet, because you had dance parties at lunch every day. And anybody that walked on that like set just was filled with such confidence and such joy, which is, I had the greatest time on that show.
I have such... I don't have the greatest
That's where we
memory,
kind of fell in love.
But that's really, Kathryn, where we, I think, actually met. My first kind of like real memory is in the trailer of Parks and Rec. And we used to, Kathryn is talking about dance parties, and we used to do a thing where just like after lunch, we would play 3 songs.
Best.
The great Autumn Butler, our makeup artist, had great taste in music, and we would just kind of dance around for 2 or 3 songs.
Yeah, the best.
I think for me, a way to honestly just keep my energy up.
Yeah.
But it became a way to meet people in the trailer. And I remember 2 things I loved about you right away. How much you love to laugh. People that know you know that. Like you love to laugh.
If someone's going to break in a scene, it's this professional over here.
Do you think you break a lot?
I have to be really serious in my mind. Like because if it starts to happen, it is tears.
Yeah.
And mucus.
But I have seen you in bloopers and you're hanging in.
Yeah, I do hang in.
You hang in.
I do. Yeah.
You, in fact, go in harder, I think, when people
I have to. I know it's a survival technique. I just have to dig in a little bit. I do. I go harder.
I feel like every time I've done a scene with you, you are so good at improvising. In fact, like a lot of your character on Parks and Rec, Jen Barkley's moments were improvised.
Were they really?
Well, one of the favorites, one of TikTok and memes and GIFs and GIFs is Poncho.
Yeah, Poncho was.
So let's talk about what
very
happened. For people
surreal.
that have never seen that, what is it? What tell us what that scene was.
Well, I went to Ben and Leslie's house. I'm speaking as Jen Barkley, my character. I'm the first person now.
Wow, for people that aren't watching, she just transformed.
I just transformed.
Her eyes turned dark and she's a completely different person.
A lot more hairspray. I went to their house. They have children. I am not into children at all. I wore a plastic poncho so that I wouldn't get any sticky fingers or crap all over me. And at some point, the kids rush by with paint, nail me with the paint. And at some take, just to make you guys laugh, did not have any idea it was going to be any. I just swung my arms open. I went, Poncho, Poncho. And that really has become
It's like Batman's cape. I mean,
that was the best. Like, I just wanting to make you guys laugh and just having the energy was so loose. So it's funny you say that about improvising. Again, I can do it if I know who I am and like the given circumstances and like that. I feel really free in that department. But just
well, you know how like we were on set a lot, and I would watch you work, and I would say the same thing about Adam. And I wonder too if it's because of both of your training, but I would watch the way you two worked. And you would have a moment where you'd stay really, really loose. But just right before the scene, and I can think of a couple of scenes, the great scene where Jen Barkley is telling Leslie, no, basically, you have to start thinking bigger, which is a huge moment in the show. I love the writing in that scene.
Oh my God, that scene.
Mike Schur and the writers, I just love how they slowly took care of Leslie and they sent people in to give her these messages. And Jen Barkley is just this like Gen X ball buster who kind of sees something that Leslie doesn't. Anyway, in that moment when you're giving that speech, I remember very clearly right before the scene, you just took a moment. And I think we joked about it later because it was like watching it was watching a real actor.
Oh God.
You were on Parks and Rec. You only did 5 episodes. Do you know that?
I know.
But you played a character that stood the test of time. I mean, if only we had Bobby Newport, just a guy who wants to be liked.
Yeah.
And who.
I know, if only, right?
I mean, Bobby at the time.
It means well, just doesn't quite grasp any of it.
He wants to go to the after party.
Yeah.
Bobby Newport, played by you, was the rich son of the Sweetums family, the family, the Newports that owned the big factory in the fictional town of Pawnee that Parks and Rec took place. And Bobby Newport ran against Leslie. And it was like what Bobby had that Leslie could never get was that, gee whiz, like, I can't believe I fell into this. Like, I just want to have a good time, you guys.
Yeah. I think that's even a line that's how Bobby feels about abortion, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, right. What did he say about abortion?
So I guess my thoughts on abortion are just like, want everybody to just have a good time.
Just want everybody to have a good time.
That's all.
I mean, come on, guys.
What?
And Bobby kept getting flustered by Leslie wanting it because he wants it. Like there's that great scene where he's like, can you just drop out of the race because I want it?
Yeah. Yeah.
'Cause I want it.
I want it. Come on. Please, you could do it. Just do it. Come on.
And people are like, I love the guy. He's great. And he doesn't seem to
Moron.
want it. Yeah, and he doesn't know anything, but that
Wouldn't
neither
know
do I. That's,
Leslie Knope is capable and great for that job. Bobby Newport is not.
No, and Bobby was thinking like, maybe I'll just get it. And then Leslie, you can do it.
Yeah. How about that? That's a good compromise.
What are your memories of doing that character? It was such a funny character. You were so great.
Thank you, Amy. My memories of that were, I can't believe I get to work with my favorite people in the world. You and Adam and Kathryn and
know.
Rashida. And like, it was like, this is the dream. I mean, this is I remember when you were talking to Tina on the very first episode you did where you were saying you feel like the great thing that can happen if you are able to sustain enough of a career that you can get to a point where you work with your friends or you get to work with people you really like. Because it's not work. It's just the best. And I mean, it was such a fun character, obviously, and the show is so great and you're so great in it. It was a dream.
Yeah.
It was a dream. And, and I was, I loved it. I loved every second of it. I loved hanging out with all you guys.
It was so fun.
It was really fun.
It was. Those scenes were so funny. Like you got to do the stupidest, talk about fun, stupid. It's the stupidest stuff.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing funnier to me than unearned confidence.
Yeah.
Like just somebody who feels like they've, it's like, I've got it figured out. And it's like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
But if it's like nice unearned, like if it's fun, it's really funny if it's not nice unearned confidence. But that was the thing of like he had a lot of kind of unearned confidence, but he was just dumb.
Yeah, he wanted to have a good
sweet,
time.
Though, but he's a nice. He was sweet.
He was sweet,
and that was that's a fun thing to get to play. That's a fun kind of character to get to play.
Would we describe him as like guileless? Is that the word?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to do it. Yeah,
I know that word. So just wanted.
That's a really good. By the way, of course you do.
Fucking great word.
You guys a fucking great word.
Fucking great word.
God damn.
We meet on the set of Parks and Rec. And for people that don't know, like you had a crazy week when you got hired.
Mm-hmm.
You got like 3 jobs that same week. What happened that week you were hired on Parks?
So I was like trying to get a part in Funny People, the Judd Apatow movie with Seth Rogen and Adam Sandler. And I went through kind of this whole vetting process in New York, and then enough where Allison Jones, who cast that movie and Parks and Rec, called me and was like, all right, like you made it to the chemistry read stage. So you have to come out to LA and read with Seth and see if you get the part, basically. And so, but I didn't really have an agent or anything. And I kind of had to like pay my way, to go out there. So it was like a little bit janky, but I got myself out there to do that. And then while I was out in LA for that week to do the Funny People thing, Allison was like, how about I send you on some other things? Like, how do you feel about that? And so, so one of them was she wanted me to go meet Mike Schur and Greg Daniels, who at the time were shooting on The Office, and they were on the set of The Office. So she sent me to the set of The Office, and I didn't even, I guess at that time I didn't realize, like, I didn't think like, oh, these meetings will get me a job. I think
it's one of the things about being young that's kind of nice is you're not really aware what you're actually, like what's at stake.
No,
and that's
definitely
good.
not that.
That's
if
good.
it was an audition, obviously, I know like, all right, I'm going to get the part or not.
Yeah.
But like general meetings, I didn't really get the vibe of that.
How old were you then?
I was 24, 23,
Yeah,
23 maybe. But so then I went to the set of The Office and I was so starstruck. I see in my horse eye BJ Novak and Mindy Kaling walked by, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, they're in the show or whatever.
Yeah.
And Mike Schur is like, hello. And he's like at his desk, like, and I'm like, what? And then I just met him for like, he describes it. He really embellishes this story, I think.
He loves this story.
He loves it. But he's like, and then I met the weirdest person later. I'm like,
there's no bigger fan of Aubrey Plaza than Mike Schur.
yeah, right.
He loves it though. Because I think like, I mean, it just speaks to honestly the fact that you've always been yourself, confidently yourself, and you don't have a vibe of like, you are the opposite of a pick me, as the kids would say. Like you do not have that vibe.
No.
And that draws people in. And I think he was like, who is this person
Yeah.
who seems mad at me
Yeah,
while
yeah.
I try to give her a job?
Yeah, literally. And
Yeah.
why are you wearing jean shorts in a general meeting? Like ripped jean shorts.
And you're like,
I'm
I didn't know what this was.
No. And then I got a phone call and they were like, you're on a TV show. I'm like, what? No. But
You're
then
like, which one?
I know.
What? You're like The Office?
Yeah. I literally probably said that. I didn't know what was going on. And then they were like, actually, you got the part, but actually you have to audition to play yourself.
You don't have to name names, but I wonder who else was up to play you.
I don't think that anyone.
Oh, right. It was
I
just
think-
one person.
I think they just made me do it like for the network or
Yeah,
something.
to
I think I
go.
found out later. I mean, maybe not. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
probably like,
It was
Whatever.
you, Sharon Stone, and Gina Gershon. Yeah. So you get the part. We're on the set, and then like, I mean, we could do a whole episode about our experiences there, and there are so like, I mean, the best thing about our relationship, I feel like, is I don't like a lot of, I think, long-lasting relationships is you don't always like remember how you met. Like, I just remember I just have this vision of you being next to me on the set of that show and me being like, welcome. Like, Leslie was supposed to be like welcoming April, and April was supposed to be like, what am I doing here? And Amy was welcoming Aubrey, and
Yeah.
Aubrey was like, what am I doing here?
truly, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when we first met, and I think I told you this story. It was the promos that we shot.
That's right.
And,
That's right.
and which was weird because we hadn't shot the show yet. And the rest of the cast hadn't even been cast yet. I think
Right.
at that point it was just like Aziz, me, you,
Yeah.
maybe another
Maybe
Rashida.
Rashida, yeah. I don't think we had Nick yet or.
I don't think so, but they had me and I was there, like physically there. So they shot this promo of us on a swing set. And that's when I met you, like officially for the first time. And
Yeah.
I think I was literally on a swing, like a child. And I was like, and I was like, just don't make any sudden movements.
Except swinging.
Except swinging. And then which is kind of good because swinging is really good somatically.
Yeah, yes.
For me, like I liked, but then, yeah, you came over and we were both just swinging like little babies. That's how we met on a swing. We met on a playground, which is kind of nice.
Really nice.
Yeah.
And it feels like the show was that. Like it felt like a true like playground space. It really was. Like I mean, I loved and love working with you. I love playing with you. I love acting with you. I love you as an actor. I love you as a person. I love your acting, Plaza. You know how
Thanks,
good
Amy.
I think you are.
I love playing with you.
And I feel like our dynamic, well, like the arc of in many ways, like April had the biggest growth in the show. She goes from truly not wanting to be where she is to like, ending the show like with some kind of purpose and a love in her life, and like she kind of stands up for what she doesn't want to do, which is a big part of your 20s. Like, but when you started that character, when you started her, did you have any idea where you thought it would go? And did you have any, did you see?
No.
Yeah.
No, I think once I realized like, oh, what's so fun about this character is that like, it's a game of not showing anyone that I really care.
Yes.
And like, once I've locked into that,
Yeah.
it was real, like, it felt like there was no limit to like the growth or like what could happen because if you hint that there's something else going on, it's like you can kind of play with that, and also in different ways with every different character. So I feel like maybe on an unconscious level, but I felt like, oh, there's so much to play with, even though it feels really subtle and simple.
Yeah, that was her secret, is she cared, but she pretended she didn't. And so when it would pop out, it was so satisfying.
Yeah.
It was so funny and good. And the ways in which she tried to keep those things hidden were so funny.
Yeah. And then I think just the Andy April thing was such an organic, like I had no idea that was going to become a thing until that one episode.
So let's talk about that. So Andy played by Chris Pratt, and you, April and Andy had an episode where a bunch of us were off like doing a harvest. We're at the Harvest Festival. We're at some festival.
I don't know where you guys were.
We were doing something together.
Yeah.
And
or you were in like camping or something.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Oh, yeah.
We were in like
the
cabins.
camping episode.
I don't know.
And so they put you guys in the office and just said, like, let's see what happens to these two characters when they hang out.
Yeah.
And basically the chemistry that those characters had was the building block for why they eventually became like the real romantic love story of the show, other than Leslie and Anne.
Yeah. Because Anne doesn't deserve.
Don't talk about Anne.
Sorry.
But what do you remember of that day?
I have Greg Daniels directed the episode, which I will always remember because he was so delighted. Like he had such a like little kid energy, and he just was like very willing to like, let's just try things. And we had a whole day where we were just playing. It was like kind of like what you said, like the office, like the ballroom or bullpen.
Yeah, bullpen.
The bullpen. The ballroom. The bullpen like became a playground, and I just remember. I have an image of like us sitting under the table. We were like under that main table for a while. Like I don't even know what we were doing down there. But we were under there. And I just remember, I don't know, it just felt, it was so fun. It just felt like, I remember before then there was, I think it was like the finale of maybe the first season or I don't remember what season, but there was a very subtle moment where we're all in a group, we're in a circle, and Andy's like saying something about his band, or he's like something about like, I think like this band name is cool or whatever. And everyone else was like, no. And April's, and I was just like, I like it. And it was like an improvised thing, but do you remember that?
Yes,
where I
completely.
remember being like, and then I remember like knocking on Mike Schur's like door and being like, listen, I was like, April loves Andy. And April thinks Andy's cool because he's so not cool that he's cool. Do you understand? And Mike was like, "Get out of here!" And I was like, "You better listen to me."
Wow,
and then
you did. You knocked on his
door. It was
door.
like, it was more like just a little conversation. But
it was like a layer to that character because you become his advocate, like, and that's the part of April that like is like another interesting layer. Is like again, she acts like nothing matters, and she's completely disaffected, but she's actually very fiercely loyal.
Yeah.
And very and like sticks up for people she believes in, which I think is a character trait of you too, Plaza. Like you're a very loyal friend.
Yeah.
You're a really, really protective friend. And you really stick up for people who you love. And that side of it was so great because then we got to see her like manage him, care about the band, see potential for him that he didn't see in himself. And he was just like, I can't believe how lucky I am.
Yeah.
And I remember when the writers had you guys get married, we were all like, what? Like
I know. That was insane.
that was, what do you remember of that day shooting it?
There was a lot of crying. You cried.
I mean, I love a wedding.
You cried. I remember you like cried in the kitchen, and then you were like crying like off camera, and I was like, stop.
I didn't cry that much.
Yes, you did. You like literally cried all day. It was so weird.
I was so happy you were in love.
You were like crying all day. There was like
I was like not crying all day.
Yeah, you were. I was like, we're not even at the camera. I was like, we're in my trailer. Like, why are you doing this? And you were like, how do you feel? I'm like,
oh my God, no,
I'm ordering a salad for lunch. Like, this is my job.
I was crying because you were crying so hard, and I was worried that we
not.
weren't going to get the shot. I was crying because I was sad at how much you were crying.
I don't think so. I think that you thought it was real. And
Yeah, I assumed it was legally binding.
Yeah.
But it was so good, and
It was good.
and the vows were so funny.
Yeah.
And the wedding was so stupid.
It
and
was so
funny.
stupid.
Okay, I mean, I guess like have you rewatched Parks and Rec?
Nope.
What? I'm finding this out. Okay.
I wouldn't even know how. Shut up.
Okay. Okay.
Ask me how.
You've never the big giant screen that you watch your movies on.
How does it work?
Go bloop, bloop,
These
bloop,
days, I
and
wouldn't.
go to
Go to what?
type in where the
Where?
search is.
How? Someone tell me.
Peacock.
No.
Yes. Yes. Go there or go to
Okay.
iTunes.
I wish I knew how.
Just
what?
pick up your controller and just say
Which
Parks
one?
and Rec into it, and it'll come up.
Okay, it's probably not the right one.
Go to your DVDs. You love your DVDs.
I wish I had one right now.
But so you've never rewatched it?
No.
I don't know what's wrong with you guys.
If it
Adam
comes on
said-
in a
Adam
hotel
said-
room, I literally throw
No.
something. I throw it.
Adam says
I will literally break the
Adam
TV.
says watching the show makes him sad. Nick has told me he has not rewatched it.
Liar. He jerks off to it every night. You know he sits there and like touches
He's like-
himself.
You're so right. He's got it on right now.
He's
Nick,
That's right, Tammy.
you're right. He does watch it for
It's his
Tammy,
wife.
his real wife, Megan Mullally.
They get off on that. They watch it
They
together.
watch. You're so right. They watch it together,
They're
and they
sick.
and then
They're
they just
just
slap each
sick.
other in the
They're
face.
disgusting.
They're so disgusting. Nick, I know you're listening. You're not fooling anybody. Two more things about parks. We had so many fun guest stars come in, and like you connected with some of them in interesting ways.
I don't know if you remember this, but do you remember when Chris Bosh was on the show, the basketball player? Chris Bosh. He was a Miami Heat player,
Oh yes,
and he was a.
was he in like?
Remember we had different beat basketball, like Roy.
Yeah, we had
Hibbert
Roy.
and-
Yes, yeah, Chris Bosh. Yes,
But Chris
and
Bosh-
he was with like Aziz and was he like
John Ralphio.
Yeah, Entertainment 720.
Yeah. But like, I don't know if you know this story. It was a really quick story, but it was so
Please.
stupid. But I was a really big Chris Bosh fan. So like, I was like, oh my God, like, I can't believe he's coming. Like, this is insane. I was like, I want to play a prank on him. Do you know this?
No.
And so he had to go through hair and makeup, but you know, he, I think, had very little hair and, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Didn't need makeup because he's a guy or whatever. But you know how they always put them through the works anyway.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to pretend to be the hairstylist. And I think it was Terry maybe was in there. And you know how she had those glasses or whatever? So I was like, Terry, give me your glasses. Or I can't remember, whatever. And I'm thinking like, this is going to be hilarious because it's going to be me. And he'll be like, ha ha ha, it's you. So I like pretend to be Terry. I'm like at her station. And then he goes through like makeup first. And they're like, you look good. You know, a little powder and you're good. And then he like went and he was like, yeah, thanks a lot. And then he sat down in my chair and I was like, well, and I looked at him and I was like, what are we going to do today? And I was like doing like a dumb thing and he didn't make any eye contact with me. He was just looking down and he was so sweet, but he didn't make eye contact. He was just like, yeah, whatever you think.
Oh
Yeah.
no! And you were like,
And I was like, well, I think that you're looking pretty good, sir. And he'd be like, yeah, so I'm good. All right. And I'd be like, well, you're not that good. And then it was like, I just kept it going. And someone videotaped it.
oh my
and it was
god!
so awkward. Didn't recognize me at all. Didn't know who I was. Don't think he ever knew who I
No,
was.
I mean-
not once.
Chris Bosh isn't going to be watching the show before he comes in.
He didn't know
He's too
who
busy.
I was. He
Yeah.
thought I was
He thought you were a hair person.
and like the PAs are like, we really need him on set. I'm like, well, he's almost done in my department of hair. And then basically it just died.
And you never.
Nope.
Well, Chris is probably listening, so
Never,
now
not
you
once.
know.
Never, not once.
Did you even work with him on set that day?
Nope.
Did you?
Never saw him again. Literally never saw him again. Ever in my life.
Every single day, someone tells me parks got them through the pandemic. And I heard you
Yes.
mention it on a previous episode. Isn't
Every
that?
single day.
Yeah.
People say, I watched it during
Yes.
COVID. I watch it with my kid. My kid's going
Yeah.
through a hard time. I like to watch it at night because I have
Yeah.
a lot of anxiety. Like, I cannot believe the way that show continues to be a medicine for
I
people.
know.
It's
It's so nice.
Awesome.
Isn't that nice?
And Ben and Leslie.
I know. Do you remember we were texting just a couple months ago and just kind of commented on how nice they are?
They're so nice. They're so much nicer than us.
So much nicer.
And they're so nice to each other.
I know.
And every woman deserves a Ben. Every woman deserves a partner like Ben who roots for you and like looks at you and is just like, that's my gal. Like everyone deserves that kind of relationship.
But also Leslie, from the word go, loved Ben.
Oh, beyond.
Like I now looking back, it's like they were just in love with each other.
I know.
Immediately.
And their arc was so juicy. The writers, Mike and the writers, because they meet and they're just like, well, what's your deal?
Oh yeah. It was like,
Hot.
and then they like each other, but then they can't.
They can't be together.
Yeah, that was great.
They can't be together, which is like, really? I mean, they probably could have been together.
It didn't matter, but...
And then they have to
And
break
Mike was
up.
like, this is totally fake and whatever, but we just need to have Rob care about you two being together. And it worked. And it was like, made it even hotter.
And
Yeah,
then Ben was like, I want you. Like Ben kept putting Leslie's, you know what it is? They kept putting each other's needs over their own. They cared about what the other one needed and they respected each other.
Yes.
Like they really liked what the other one did. And it was the best thing about that relationship is how, with the exception of Anne, who is,
of course,
Leslie's number one.
Of course. I've accepted that.
Yeah. Is the way that they just rooted for each other.
Yes.
They really rooted for each other.
I haven't seen a ton of it. Makes me sad to watch the show because I miss it.
I've heard you say that.
Yeah.
Why does it make you sad?
Because I miss it. Like you were saying, like we really appreciated being there every day and it was so fun. And also just sort of walking in that building and then suddenly you're there and the hallways and it was so fun and the people just loved everybody.
I think one of the things that was so fun about what we got to do is the camera helped us, at least it helped me, have my feelings about, I tell people like, of course we love Ben. We got to like Ben, we watch Ben watch Leslie and we love Leslie. So like when people love Leslie, we love them. And we got to watch Ben love her because the camera we got to do so much indirect stuff. Like we didn't have to face all the time. We had feelings. Our characters had feelings for each other because of the camera. And
that's right.
And it's such a beautiful genre, that mockumentary, because it allows you to just even create space and depth in the shot. People are just not in the same room.
That's right. And like, I remember we always used to say we loved it when there were spy shots through like blinds because it made our acting better. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Do you also remember this thing we used to do where sometimes we would be doing a scene and we'd be like, okay, I'm not someone who can predict the future 100%, but I will say, it was like a couple times a season, I can say with 100% certainty that neither of us will ever win an award for acting for this scene. You would say it sometimes, and then sometimes
let's just, and also on the other side, I would sometimes say, I said this on the podcast, like I would say like, Adam, your acting is so good. You'd be like, shut up. We're in the middle of the scene. Like, because it was like, oh my God. That's what I love about working with you. And I just feel like before we end, like I just want to feed our fans a little bit more, which is what do you think was the most romantic scene between Ben and Leslie?
Oh man. It's so sweet.
I know, but what's the most romantic?
The most romantic? I think, well, there are a couple of nominees.
Okay.
But I think maybe Smallest Park.
Ugh.
Because
I just heard a little groan. I hope it's a good groan. Yeah.
Someone just being like, ugh.
I love Smallest
Me
Park. Me
too.
Nicole Holofcener, the great Nicole Holofcener directed
and Chelsea wrote that
Chelsea Peretti wrote that episode.
And I remember really like feeling connected, shooting that, and just being like, this is kind of feeling like how special it was.
Yes.
Making the show.
Yes.
And that was, but I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I have a lot. I mean, I feel like that was such a big one. I feel like I have such a affinity for the beginnings parts of Ben and Leslie, because I do think it also just reminded me of like we were, the show was deciding that they were going to love each other too.
Yeah.
And I really love this tiny moment when they realize they like the same spot, when they like to sit under the sunflower mural.
Well,
I love that moment.
When I ask you if you know where that mural is, and your response is real, it's a rewindable moment.
I love that moment between both of us and of course Parks then pays it off years later. Yeah. By sitting underneath it.
Yep.
I also, when we shot Ben and Leslie's wedding, it was so fun. It was like we were all just sitting there all day goofing around. And it was so fun. And like,
I think we had real champagne too, maybe.
We probably did.
Yeah.
We probably did. And then that probably became a problem later in the day.
Yeah, probably. Champagne, not something to have when you have like a 10-hour workday ahead of you. Are you asked all the time if there'll be more Parks or a reboot or something? I always feel like it's done. Like it was perfectly done. Like how do you do that?
Perfectly. Maybe they should do like Muppet Babies. They should do like Parks and Rec Babies.
That's right.
Like everyone is
all
babies.
All of us is like that Instagram thing where everyone's.
Oh yeah, have you seen that? Yeah, the AI babies. They should do AI babies.
But like a whole series.
Yeah.
Of all of us just in a crib together.
Yeah. But they should do it like present day where like politics are really dark and mean. Yep. And so it should be like tiny babies fighting each other.
They hate each other. It's like apocalyptic political babies.
And they're all like, oh no, like they're
I hate you so much.
Yay. I mean,
yay, I hate you. Because we made the show in an era where public service was encouraged and valued.
Right.
And funded.
Yes.
It was, I'm sure it wasn't as funded as much as it should have been, but it was funded at least. It's an entirely different tone to American life.
When you have that feeling sometimes like you wish you could go back to high school and enjoy it.
Right.
That's how it felt. Like we actually got to do it in real time.
Yeah. Because it was genuinely goofy and funny.
Yeah.
Like the best jokes.
What is one of your favorite jokes? What is one of the favorite funny scenes you got to do? So many.
I mean, I always think of you guys on the ice at the ice skating rink with Gloria Estefan.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember at the table read we couldn't stop laughing because it was so funny.
Yeah, Mike Scully wrote that episode and
Mike Scully's the best.
We got to walk across that ice. And I remember just thinking, this is so fun. Oh my God, what a fun job.
I wasn't even in that scene.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Sorry, we should probably just Photoshop you.
We should put me in that scene. That's why I brought it up. Yeah. I feel like it would, I deserve it.
Okay, you guys ready to watch it?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Yes. Really exciting.
Amy, are you going to play it from your
I'm supposed to play it. I'm supposed to play it. Here we go. You've been listening to Good Hang. The executive producers for this show are Bill Simmons, Jenna Weiss-Berman, and me, Amy Poehler. The show is produced by The Ringer and Paper Kite. For The Ringer, production by Jack Wilson, Kat Spillane, Kaya McMullen, and Aleya Zenieris. For Paper Kite, production by Sam Green, Joel Lovell, and Jenna Weiss-Berman. Original music by Amy Miles.